From 12 News, this is Newsmakers.
Welcome to Newsmakers. I'm Tim White alongside 12 News politics editor Ted Nesi. This week, the spotlight shifts once again to the public schools as Governor Dan McKee has announced he is lifting the statewide mask mandate on March 4th and shifting the call to individual districts. We are joined via Zoom by the State Education Commissioner Angélica Infante-Green. Commissioner, it's good to have you. As Ted and I were walking into the studio on this Friday morning, the Providence Public Schools announced that they were not going to lift the mask mandate beyond on March 4th. In other words, masks will remain in place at the Providence Public Schools. That is a state-run district. What was behind that decision for you?
The vaccination rate. You know, we're at 34, but what that means is that we have some schools that is 10% that are very low, and we don't feel comfortable, removing the masks at this point. And that's why I encourage all parents to really get their students vaccinated or their kids vaccinated. I did that with both my kids. And I know that there's some hesitancy and there's some questions, but it is the safest thing that we can do.
You are also doing a staggered return after the February break. We will have all the details on WPRI.com, but the upshot is some grades return Monday after February break, other grades on Tuesday, and the rest on Wednesday. I imagine that's for testing. Is that right?
Correct. So we are going to have testing, vaccination clinics during the break, right before the break. We're sending home test kits. We are doing everything we are able to maintain the safety in the schools. We did it before when we came back in January, and it was very successful. And we intend to do it again so that we can have a better handle on who comes in and how we have testing happening, and we can keep everybody in a good place.
As you point out, the vaccination rate in Providence isn't good. It's fully vaccinated at last check was 34%. You're trying to get that number up, but what does the vaccination rate need to be for you to lift the mask mandate?
I think that is hard to say. I'll tell you why, because that is the aggregate number of the entire district, right? And we have, for example, some of classical is at a much higher rate, and some of our other schools are at 10%. So I think it's going to be very individualized, and we're going to work with all the schools. And, RIDO is going to provide guidance, and we're going to continue to work with them as we move forward.
So in other words, you could have maybe classical lift their mask mandate before another school. Is that a possibility?
It's all going to depend on the vaccination rate, and we are going to be individualize it as much as possible and really have conversations with everyone in the buildings, with the parents, with the students, with the teachers. We have maintained safety as paramount, and we're going to continue to do that.
I'm wondering, Commissioner, we're talking a lot about Providence, but of course all the other school districts in the state are affected by lifting the mask mandate too. In the days since that announcement has come out, have you gotten an indication, a sense, if you expect most of them to go back to school without masks after March 4th? If you think it's going to be half and half, very mixed, what's your feeling so far of what the districts are going to do?
So far, from what I've heard, it's a little mixed. I don't think anyone's made definitive decisions with the exception of one or two districts. I think it's something that they're going to work with their local communities, is what we have heard, and we are going to support them in whatever decision they make at the local level. But obviously, those decisions will be made based on their communities, whether they have what their vaccine rate looks like, what incidents. But parents can always continue to send their kids with masks, even if the district has changed its policy.
Do you, for operationally, I remember last summer before there was a statewide mandate, there were districts were submitting to RIDE plans that would say whether they had masks or not. Do they need to do that again now once they make a decision about masks, send it to RIDE and get your sign off, or can they just decide and do it?
No, they can decide to do it. What they were sending us were reopening plans at the very beginning of the year. So that is already done. They have put their policy in place. If they're going to amend their policy, They're going to do that at the local level. We are in a different place than we were at the beginning of the year. We are seeing, hopefully, what everybody calls the endemic in sight, and that's not where we were 6-7 months ago.
So in the end, this is a purely local decision now. They'll make that at the local level.
Correct. Yes.
Back to Providence, Commissioner. You had previously considered a vaccine mandate for Providence public school employees. Is that still on the table?
No, we're not doing that. You know, we have a high rate of employees vaccinated, so we don't feel that we have the need to do that at this point.
And just a minor side question here, because it actually, this question has come up a lot from parents of student athletes. Again, in Providence, where the mask mandate is going to remain in place, what does that mean for student athletes at, you know, the basketball game or the volleyball game? Will they continue, the athletes have to continue to wear their masks?
I think that's all going to depend upon what we do statewide, right? Because, you know, students play in different districts. And I think that is going to be a decision that we're going to work out in the next few weeks as the decision for what the statewide recommendation is going to be.
I want to ask you a different question about masks, Commissioner. There was a big debate in the House of Representatives about extending the governor's emergency authority. A lot of that actually did focus on the school mask mandate. And some of the lawmakers expressed concern about the effects of mask wearing on children and on their development. They talked about things like enunciation, not seeing mouths, you know, in the classroom. I'm just wondering, do you as an educator have concerns about especially for the younger children, developmental and learning issues associated with having the mask on in the classroom?
So obviously, none of this is ideal, right? And we have not been working in an ideal situation for the last 2 years. But am I concerned? I'm concerned about the effects of COVID overall. The masks in general, you know, that's a different conversation. I have a child who's autistic, who wears a mask to school every single day. You know, it is what it is. But I'm more concerned about his health and his ability to continue to move forward. I wear a mask. You know, I'm more worried about where our kids will be academically and emotionally overall from the pandemic. I'm not focusing in on that one issue.
Let me ask you about a different story that popped this week. Our colleague Steph Machado did a deep dive into the data on public school enrollment in Rhode Island, and Steph found a net loss of nearly 5,000 students in public schools in Rhode Island since the pandemic. Just big picture, what do you make of that? Does it concern you?
Well, we saw this very early on with the pandemic. We saw that parents were not enrolling their kindergartners. We saw it in the first grade. We have been talking about this now for 2 years. So, and it's what we're seeing nationwide, not just in Rhode Island. We're seeing that loss. And, you know, so we have advocated for the communities to continue to receive the funding. I think that that's really important. And in Providence, we have community specialists that have gone out to seek out where those families are. Every district is different, but we have seen the impact across the board in the nation. So parents have made different decisions.
As you mentioned, the governor in his budget proposal has put out level funding for school districts that have lost enrollment. If the General Assembly passes that, that'll be for the next year. The question for a lot of school districts, though, is how long will the state continue to level fund if enrollment continues to decline, or I should say doesn't bounce back? Should school committees, should school departments prepare to tighten their belts for out years?
Well, I think we are preparing. I think we have these conversations all the time. We'll know now pretty soon, because it seems like things are changing with the pandemic, what that'll look like. I think in the next 6-7 months, we'll have a better picture of what's going to happen. But for the general public, it's important to understand that schools get funded from last year's numbers. And what that means is if the families come back, now we're going to need additional teachers that we don't have the money for. So everybody's thinking about what will this look like a year from now, 2 years from now, if we have the money, if we don't have the money. So we have scenario A, B, and C, and the superintendents are worried about this, and they talk about it constantly.
Another issue that's coming up a lot is teacher vacancies, having enough teachers to fill the classrooms, the pipeline. I know Providence started the year with quite a few vacancies, and other places are seeing it too. How big a concern is that, right now, midway, really more than midway through the school year, and for next year as you look ahead, for having kind of a stable base of a teaching workforce that you need to staff the schools all across Rhode Island?
So I think that this is a national problem. We know that. We saw that in New Mexico. The National Guard had to go in. My colleagues, I meet with the New England Chiefs every Thursday, and some of my colleagues, principals, superintendents, have been covering classes because they don't have enough teachers. And the tragic part is that this has been long coming, that we've seen the shortage for many years, and now it's been exacerbated by the pandemic. We're being proactive, particularly in Providence, but also our office here at RIDE is being proactive in terms of trying to recruit for our entire state, creating a hub, a data hub for the entire state, so we can attract teachers to Rhode Island. We have beaches, we have an amazing state, so we are trying to pull in and retain the teachers we have. But it's a concern. It's a concern for everyone in my role.
What's the hardest type of teacher to recruit right now?
Secondary, world language teachers, bilingual teachers, our teachers that teach our multilingual learners, science in the secondary level. So those are all very difficult positions to fill. I met with the district in the suburbs who didn't offer physics last year because they didn't have a physics teacher. So it's a concern for us across the board. And all my other colleagues are feeling the same pressure.
Commissioner, in Steph Machado's enrollment piece, she found that 4,600 students stopped attending traditional public schools in Providence. A big chunk of them went to other districts, about 1,000 to charter schools, 900 to another state. But Steph found that Providence cannot account for nearly 300 students. For some high schools, that's an entire graduating class that just vanished. How concerned are you about that, and what's being done?
Oh, absolutely. We have an attendance initiative. We hired counselors in the elementary school grades. Providence never had guidance counselors in elementary school. We also hired APs in elementary school. They never had assistant principals. We also hired community specialists that their job is to find these students, reach out to the families, get the supports. Where are they? We are actively engaged in this. And, I've visited families' homes myself, trying to figure out what is going on. In many cases, families have experienced personal loss in Providence that other places have not experienced, where the kids are now living with relatives. So we are uncovering all sorts of things that really pushes us to work with other agencies to provide the support. So it is constant. We're worried about it in Providence, but we're worried about it statewide. It's not only happening in Providence.
We've touched on so many different issues that are all tied back to the pandemic. Masking policy, recruiting of teachers, what you were just talking about with enrollment and everything. Has there been something that's come up that has surprised you or you didn't expect? I'm sure there have been a lot of surprises amid the pandemic, but something you're worried about now that maybe you wouldn't have expected would be an effect of the pandemic on education in Rhode Island?
Well, I'm worried about the kids that this is all they know, right? The kids that have only gone to school during the pandemic. I'm also worried about the kids that transitioned, let's say, from middle school to high school during the pandemic. Their routines, there are things that they have not experienced that other kids have experienced. We hear from principals, that there is a lot of having to support kids emotionally. The social emotional aspect is really devastating for all kids. Kids are having to learn routines that they knew in the past, how to interact with one another. There's a level of anxiety that already was present, but now it is elevated. So we are in a place that we were not 2 years ago. So we're not just worried about the academics, but the social emotional piece. And just the routines and really getting kids to interact in a very different way. We've been social distancing. for second graders, they don't know anything other than this.
Commissioner, Dr. Montañez is the acting superintendent in Providence. I want to ask you about where things stand with a permanent replacement. We are now past the halfway point of the school year, and the job still hasn't been posted yet. What's the timeline?
Well, I think, we've been talking about the pandemic, right? So that's what we're focused in on. Obviously, that having a permanent superintendent is our goal. But right now, I have to tell you, when I have 34% vaccination rate, that's where my goal is. My goal is really reaching out to the families and saying, hey, what's going on? East Greenwich has 79% vaccination rate. Like, what do we need to do? That is where our focus is, our day-to-day, reaching the kids. The things that we have just discussed is where our attention is. And Dr. Montañez is with us right now doing the job. And that's where he and I touch base every day. This is what we're doing and trying to continue to move forward. Every district has been challenged, but this is our largest district in the state and already a district that was in crisis prior to the pandemic. So, it is something that we're continuing to move forward. And our goal is accelerating learning, period, right now.
All right, Commissioner, we do have to go, but real quick, based on your answer, you certainly do have a lot on your plate statewide, but
yes,
in Providence. So it sounds like Dr. Montañez could continue to be the acting superintendent based on what you said into the next school year.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Right now, yes, he's doing the job with us. He's working with us. Obviously, he's somebody that I selected, I trust, and we work really well together. But right now, it's a day-to-day process for any district, right? And we're looking long-term and day-to-day what we have to do. And, we're going in many different directions, and we have the well-being of the students at hand first and foremost.
State Education Commissioner Angélica Infante-Green, thanks so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you, and belated happy birthday.
Thank you, Commissioner. When we come back, a reporters roundtable. Steph Machado will be joining Ted and I in studio to break down the week in news. Stay with us. You're watching Newsmakers.
With this state-driven change, Rhode Island will be aligning with other nearby states like Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Jersey, and Delaware when it comes to masks in schools. This is an important point on timing. Over the next several weeks before this change takes effect, we expect that numbers will continue to decline, putting us in a strong position to transition to local decision-making on school masks.
That was Governor Dan McKee on Wednesday with his mask announcement. I'm joined by 12 News Politics editor Ted Nesi and my Target 12 colleague Steph Machado, our Target 12 colleague Steph Machado. Ted, what's behind his decision here? What drove him to make the decision both on school mask mandates being, and I say lifted on March 4th, it's really being shifted, right, to the individual school districts, and of course the statewide mandate, as people are watching this at home on Sunday, has been lifted and businesses can make up their own mind.
Yeah, I think of a few factors. I mean, first of all, you just have to go to the COVID situation, right? I think cases are down nearly 90% in Rhode Island from the Omicron peak. Now, transmission's still fairly high compared to where they want it to be, so it is important to keep that in mind. But the cases spiked so far and so high, and of course, we now know Omicron wasn't as deadly, which is a blessing, but that also means I think it shifted, I think, for a lot of people how they think about COVID and COVID risk. And then you can't look at Rhode Island in a vacuum. The same day that Dan McKee made this announcement in Rhode Island, Charlie Baker in Massachusetts announced lifting the mask mandate here. We saw New Jersey's governor, Delaware's governor. We've seen more governors over the course of the week. So you've really seen this, what feels like a somewhat rapid shift in kind of the politics of COVID, with governors deciding, the public wants to get back to normalcy as soon as possible. And frankly, the public health situation is in a way where we feel like we can move in that direction. I think Dan McKee's part of that.
Before we go to you, Steph, on what this means for schools, why don't we have our producer bring up a chart on what Ted is talking about here. We have some hospitalization and case numbers to show you. These are put together by Eli Sherman. What you're looking at here are hospitalization numbers, which to me are, considering a lot of people doing take-home tests, these are the real important numbers. They're the, as we always say, the lagging indicator. And just as Ted said, I mean, the numbers are really dropping, which is great news in hospitals. And the next graphic we have, although again, I think less important, I think you'd agree, Ted, are the cases. Those are significantly dropping.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of an astonishing rise and fall, how fast that happened, especially if you compare it to the what now looks like a little smaller mountain of cases we had last winter. You know, I think people saw I think seeing the numbers go that high and not seeing, you know, the hospitals overrun, I think, again, is really some of what changed people's perception of COVID risk. And I think you see governors, Dan McKee and others, reacting to that.
So, Steph, the last person I'd want to be right now is a school committee member. I mean, the governor really shifted the burden and responsibility to those the school committees, to the school districts, and those meetings. Boy, we're going to see some fiery ones, I think.
Yeah, we saw them last year when school districts were voting whether or not to have a mask mandate to come back to school, and I think a lot of them breathed a sigh of relief when Governor McKee did end up doing a school mask mandate before the start of this school year. And now that that's ending, I think we're going to see, again, school committee meetings with a lot of parents, you know, with opinions on what should happen moving forward. I was not really surprised that Providence is keeping their mask mandate in place, even though they're controlled by the state and they usually go with whatever the state is doing.
But you heard the commissioner there. It could be a patchwork even within the district. She didn't go quite that far, but you could have one school lift and one school not.
And I think she kind of forecasted this at the COVID briefing on Wednesday when she read off some of the vaccination rates and just how different it is from the urban districts compared to the suburban districts. So that's obviously going to be huge for them. Getting that vax rate up before they drop the masks.
And you have to worry when you hear that about, you know, the pandemic has been unfair in so many ways. And when, you know, you're talking there about districts that already are generally wealthier districts with more resources that are also maybe going to be able to get out of COVID mode a little faster because their vaccination rates are up. While Providence, they're going to continue to have masks. They could continue to have disruption due to COVID spread due to that low vaccination rate. You just worry about what that means for districts like Providence, as she said, that have already been struggling well before the pandemic, and kind of, you know, how long do these effects continue and how long do they make the rich richer and the poor poorer, metaphorically?
Right. Yeah, they were hit worse by the virus than the you know, suburban areas. They had more death. You know, kids are affected. She mentioned that by they have family members who have died, and then now they're less vaccinated. And so I think the concern is that if you take the masks off, there's going to be more spread and then more loss of learning because people will be out.
So to our politics editor, I mean, the big decision was driven a lot, I'm sure, by case numbers, as you point out, hospitalizations, other states, as you said, making the decision. What about politics driving this? Governor McKee has another opportunity here.
He does, yeah. I think, you know, Governor McKee came in, and we all talked about it, the luckiest man in politics, right? He came in right, the timing when Gina Raimondo left was, he came in just in time to run a big vaccination drive, getting the vaccination rate up. He was removing restrictions all through last spring. You know, summertime felt fairly normal.
Bunch of federal money.
All this federal money. And he was feeling pretty good, as were his advisors. And then they hit roadblocks. They hit the Delta variant. He had to put the mask mandate in. And then, of course, this winter, he had to put restrictions you could tell he didn't want to be doing, like the vaxxer mask mandate, which is lifting today. It's almost like he might get a second chance to do what they thought they were getting to do last year, which is lift restrictions, let things reopen. And frankly, this time it does feel a little different because of the Omicron experience that maybe it'll hold and get him through to the election. Now, I should say his advisors are very adamant that this was driven by public health. This was driven by trying to balance public health against the economy. But, you know, you can't take the politics out of politics, and that's going to be part of the discussion in the coming months.
Steph, we have 2 minutes left in the program, so I really do want to touch on your amazing report on the statewide enrollment numbers being down in public schools in Rhode Island. You know, 6,500 students left traditional public schools, as Ted said, in the first half, 5,000 in all public schools, including charter schools. You've been an education reporter for a while. Did that surprise you?
It didn't, because we'd been hearing about it, you know, as the commissioner said, for the past couple of years, but seeing the actual numbers come out, because they only count enrollment once a year, so seeing these numbers and seeing what a massive shift it was out of the public schools towards charters, towards private schools, towards homeschooling, moving out of the state, you know, all these various options, it was just a huge number, and I think the funding question is what we're gonna have to contend with moving forward and track, you know, for our purposes, because a school district, we're talking about kids losing learning during the pandemic. Well, a school district losing millions of dollars due to enrollment is not exactly what you want.
And as Bob Walsh will point out from the NEA, just because a student leaves and goes to another, the expenses are still there. The classroom size might go down, but the teacher's still in there.
You have to keep the lights on, as they say. So
the school bus is running.
If you have a huge enrollment drop, sort of like we've seen in Warwick over the past decade, they actually started closing schools to find those savings. But if you lose students, but not so many students that you're closing schools, you still have to keep the lights on. So that funding problem is going to be an issue.
30 seconds left in the show. You talked to a lot of parents. What did they tell you about why they're moving their kids?
They had so many different reasons. It's obviously a personal decision, and the reasons, I would say, interacted with the pandemic, but weren't solely because of the pandemic. Perhaps their kid did have a problem with virtual learning, but there were other issues. Perhaps their kid, you know, was not being challenged in the public schools, or they needed some specialized attention that they couldn't get in the larger classroom. So many different reasons. It's a personal decision that led to these numbers.
Steph Machado, Ted Nesi, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week on Newsmakers.